Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. Across the legal, political, and social media worlds, the ridicule of the Trump Justice Department has now become epic. In the wake of a federal judge throwing out the Justice Department's two highest profile cases, Attorney General Pam Bondi and Prosecutor Lindsey Halligan are being described as idiots, imbeciles, and nincompoops. And those descriptions are on the kind side of the spectrum. Here's the background.
The Justice Department vowing to appeal orders from a federal judge Monday, tossing out the criminal charges against former FBI Director James Comey and New York's Attorney General Letitia James.
We'll be taking all available legal action, including an immediate appeal.
The judge concluding the president's hand-picked prosecutor, Lindsey Halligan, who brought the cases in Virginia, cannot lead the office any longer, pointing to a law barring successive appointments of interim prosecutors.
The Justice Department says it will appeal, but legal experts say the Trump DOJ's chances of a reversal are slim.
What this decision does is it calls out the two fundamental flaws with both of these prosecutions, the Comey and the Letitia James prosecutions. One, malice. The only reason Lindsey Halligan was there as the prosecutor in the first place is because the real prosecutors refused to charge it and got pushed out. And then second, on top of that, just incompetence, the inability to return a grand jury indictment and to follow the basic rules. So it's a dark day for the Justice Department. Sure, they can appeal, but I don't love their chances.
CNN's legal analyst Elie Honig went on to describe the Justice Department's failure of the basics in these prosecutions as humiliating. Other legal analysts and pundits are hitting even harder, saying Bondi blew it. The Department of Justice is a national embarrassment. Lindsey Halligan is a buffoon. Several news organizations report that in the past several weeks, the DOJ's actions have prompted a wave of staff and lawyers to quit. The attorneys describe collapsing ethics, corrosive pressure, and a toxic workplace. One lawyer who worked at the DOJ for 18 years before quitting said the staff are being asked to put loyalty to the president over the Constitution, the rule of law, and their professional ethical obligations. And it comes from the top down. According to multiple reports, Attorney General Pam Bondi initially had reservations about bringing these cases, but President Donald Trump publicly demanded she push forward anyway.
The president had put an immense amount of pressure on the attorney general to bring about these prosecutions. He had posted in a social media post that was addressed to Pam, referring to Pam Bondi, that she needed to do this. He said at the time, "We cannot delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility." And at the time, Kira, the president spoke to reporters and said that they had to act fast. And if some of these people were not guilty, that was fine. But if they were, they should be charged. After the FBI brought this indictment against Jim Comey, the president commended the work and thanked the FBI director Kash Patel for what he called brilliant work in bringing that indictment against Comey.
Yes, Donald Trump called the FBI director Kash Patel and Attorney General Pam Bondi brilliant for bringing these indictments. Now, lawyers are calling Bondi and Patel dumb and stupid. The evidence is clear that the prosecutions violated due process, disregarded federal rules of procedure, and were motivated not by the facts or by the law, but by political vengeance. Some legal experts point out that because of the statements Pam Bondi and Prosecutor Halligan initially made in federal court, statements that turned out to be lies, Halligan and Bondi could both face disbarment proceedings. In other words, they may both lose their law licenses. And in the meantime, the judge's ruling in tossing out the Comey and James cases did not even address the merits or facts of each case. Instead, the cases were dismissed solely because of the unlawful way the Trump administration installed Lindsey Halligan as a U.S. district attorney.
This really highlights how much of an unforced error this was by the administration. By trying to cut corners and go against the law and essentially find loopholes that did not exist as a means of putting your own hand-picked prosecutors in place who were not qualified, who were not properly appointed, who were not properly confirmed, you have now placed yourself in the embarrassing position of having your case dismissed on a threshold issue. We haven't even gotten to the merits. And so when you're talking about the DOJ, its history, its prestige, and the amount of esteem that office holds, this is a real embarrassment. And it's an embarrassment that was so easily avoidable that when you're reading this decision, it's in black and white and plain letter law, even though Simone asked for that wonderful explanation. The truth is, what it ultimately tells people is that not only did you know better or should you have known better, but this was easily preventable simply by following the rules.
And he's referring to the rules about appointing a district attorney, including the requirement that such a prosecutor get Senate confirmation. In this case, the Trump administration tried to do an end around, and by making up interim claims after Halligan had already been named U.S. attorney. The bottom line is that the cases have been dismissed on procedural grounds, even though Comey and James have strong arguments about the merits of their cases as well. But the judge didn't even need to go there. And let's be clear, the prosecution's blunders were not merely technical errors. They were a series of intentional political spectacles designed to help Donald Trump get some measure of vengeance against James Comey and Letitia James. Donald Trump's Department of Justice treats the law as a toy, the courts as a stage, and the public as an audience to be manipulated and misled. In Trump's America, justice is not a principle, it is a performance. But in this theater, a judge has now weighed in, calling the Trump prosecutors an epic farce. And the jokes, the humiliations, and the embarrassments are now on Lindsey Halligan, Pam Bondi, and Donald Trump. They are being ridiculed and slammed in epic fashion, and they deserve it all. You know what TYT has always been about? Taking on the corrupt, greedy establishment. For us, it's the corporate media. We've been fighting that fight for over 20 years. For the cell phone industry, it's the same story. A handful of massive corporations ripping you off. That's why we're partnering with Noble Mobile. They're the only wireless company with the same mission as ours, to fight back. Their no-bull plan offers unlimited data for just $50 per month. But here's the best part. For any data you don't use, you get cash back. Real money that you can spend however you want. Stop letting your unused data pad the pockets of billionaires. With Noble, you take control over your data. And by switching to Noble, you're directly supporting TYT and our mission of bringing you honest, independent news. So give Noble a try and make the switch today. Scan the QR code on the screen now or visit go.tyt.com/plan. That's go.tyt.com/plan. By the way, Attorney General Pam Bondi is also getting mocked over the Epstein files, and the digs have been brutal from Democrat Jasmine Crockett.
When will the Epstein files come out?
Answering questions over social media from her constituents, that is Democratic House member Jasmine Crockett.
Okay, so y'all know I don't trust Pam, right? Y'all know I don't trust her, right?
Pam is Attorney General Pam Bondi. And not only does Crockett not trust Bondi, Crockett is about to openly mock her.
And Pam she was stuttering the other day.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.